Hey, it's Luke, and today we're going to be making a song from scratch, a polished demo. Making demos is one of the most crucial aspects of being an artist. Without them, you have no springboard to jump from when it comes to going into the studio with another producer, or you want to just carry on the process of making your own song. And sometimes it can be hard to find inspiration to get things going. So in this video, I'm going to make my own demo from scratch. As a producer of a decade, worked with hundreds of artists and an artist in my own right, I'm going to show you the creative process that I go through to actually make a demo. And then at the end of it, I'll explain what I've done. And hopefully you'll get some inspiration from it and you'll be inspired to go create your own. So let's get started. So I do actually have an idea in my mind, which is a really big, epic pad. I kind of woke up with it this morning, maybe layered with a choir and then some kind of drums playing over the top of that. The tempo I'm thinking is maybe even a little slower. I'll get the tempo in and we'll see. Okay, so there we are. That is a first demo of this song. I decided to call it Scenic Route. I just kind of got this picture of, very scenic drives in a way. So loving how this is sounding, I think this is a really solid first demo. So let's go a bit deeper into what I was doing through that process. So the first thing that you saw me do was recording this pad. And then I bounced it to audio and then laid up that pad with a choir here. And the reason I wanted it to bounce it to audio, is so that I could have this kind of sudden stop here, which made way for this vocal here. Which is really fun. So with this vocal, I actually did pitch it up a semitone. And I did have a bunch of delays and stuff on it, but I think I've accidentally taken them off here. So it did actually have, if I go to Space Designer by Baby Audio, it had, sorry, not Space Designer, it was Spaced Out. It had this sort of plugin on it here, and I just clicked on the Generate button here to find a new effect. Kind of like that. I quite like that one. We could roll with that. And then I did also have some distortion on it as well, which again, I took off for some reason, but I'll just throw that back on quickly here. With this. There you go, a bit like that. So it was kind of sitting in that range. I don't know why I got rid of it, but I think I was editing this vocal over here and forgot that I had that woe there. I then added in some drums. I wanted a drum break, and I was thinking about getting a loop and basically using that loop. But I thought, why not try out this plugin that I know I've got and I've never really used. I've used it maybe a couple of times in the past, called Empire Breaks. And it's a really fun plugin. It's basically for these sorts of drum breaks, which sound awesome. I think they sound really, really cool. So I just played that in there. The only thing that I did to this one was I just went into the main key and I just turned down the hi-hat, for example, because I just thought it was a little bit too loud, and the crash here as well. Turn them down a bit. I then added some bass. I was thinking about using this kind of mini bass here, so kind of a long drawn out note, something like that. But I thought to myself, with the pad, you've already got a lot of drawn out elements, so I wanted to add something with a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more groove, and so that's why I decided to opt for a live bass. I just used a MIDI bass, which is this ample bass that I have loaded up. This is free, by the way. I just have this loaded up ready to go so that I can just record in a live bass sound quickly, because I can go play the real bass, but if I'm trying to be quick and get things done, I just record in the MIDI bass. And it was exactly the same story when I added in the guitar as well. Again, I could have played the guitar for this, but I thought, let's play the keyboard. I've got this guitar, MIDI guitar set up here, and so many of these plugins sound so good now that, why would you not just use them to get your ideas down? You can always re-record them later if you feel it needs it. But the other cool thing about playing the guitar on the piano is that you play it slightly differently. It sounds different. So the way that you hold notes, sustain notes, just feels a little bit different to how you would actually do it on a real guitar. So to me, I think that's super awesome. I think it gives you a slightly different sound, a different feel. So if I just play this in isolation. Like, it sounds like a real guitar, it really does, but it's just played like a keyboard and it gives it a different feel. And I'm just using the Voyager guitar. This is by Teletone Audio, and I'm just using the sustain L, R, and C preset, which I think sounds really, really good. I did also turn on the playable range here to full, which basically means it extends beyond the range of what you can play on a guitar, so I can actually get lower. It's more like a baritone guitar, which is really, really cool. And then for the verse here, I just dropped out these two pads here, take them out, and then I just reduced the velocity of the bass and the guitar here, so they were just played way softer. So they sound like this in isolation. Whereas earlier on, they're sounding like... It just plays it a bit softer, which is cool, gives a different dynamic to the verse, even though it's the same part. I then moved on to the pre-chorus and kept the guitar the same. I'm thinking at this point, everything stops. We've had a lot of groove at this point now. And then I decided to introduce this synth piano part, which initially you saw me play straight. And then I actually changed the parameters and put on this reverse module here at eighth notes. So it now reverses the notes rather than plays them straight, which to me sounds a bit more ethereal, a little bit more just really, really lovely. And it's a bit more interesting, I think. So that's a really nice texture. And then I love doing this with the vocals. You saw me record it at a lower pitch and slower. Basically, the way that I did this to get this sound was I just turned on flex time or vary speed, which is just up here, this kind of button here. And then here with the vary speed, I can move it up or down, plus 50 or minus 50% up to. And I just make sure that I select the speed and pitch. So when I turn it on, it slows everything down. And then I record to that speed and pitch so that when I turn it off and I go back up, it then changes my vocal to sound this is quite a common technique used in like hip hop and stuff like that, and a lot of like resampled soul and things like that. They do a lot of that stuff. So I thought it'd be really cool just to add an element in like that. And then the plugins I've got on that are just auto tune, just a compressor, this SP950, which is basically emulating an old sampler. And it's kind of got this, I've turned the filter down here, but if I turn the filter up, it has this really nice kind of sort of bitty sort of sound. It's an old school sampler, which is awesome. And then just a bit of reverb on the ambient delay setting, mixed in nearly 50%, just to give it some vibe. And then just at the end of the pre here, we just have this single piano part. Which isolates the vocal as well. So it's just a slightly different thing that you haven't heard yet in the song. So just threw that in there. It was a piano that I already had loaded up, ready to go. I ran it through the same sampler plugin. And then I also ran it through this chorus Juno here. So interestingly, I actually put it through the sampler here, and I just made it a mono sum. So rather than it being stereo, I made it mono, and then ran it through the chorus to re-stereoize it, which might sound counterintuitive, but it just, I'd rather the stereo come from the chorus effect rather than the way it was recorded, because it was recorded in stereo, this piano. So I just thought it was a cool effect. And then we're just back into the main part over here, the main kind of chorus section that I created, and just looping that over. And that, to me, is kind of the foundation of the song. You've got your verse, you've got your pre, and you've got your chorus. So what I would do now is probably just copy over one round of this verse here, another round of this verse, starting from here, halfway through the verse, probably to here, back into this kind of pre-section, and then into another chorus. And I would just rock with that as a structure for my first demo, so that I can now write to this, I can now send this to other artists and just see if anyone likes it. So give this a go in your next song. But if you're actually looking for someone to work with you on your project and actually help you take your song from just a demo, even like this, and then take it further to a complete finished song, then check the link in the description and hit me up, and we'll see if we're a good fit. Otherwise, I've got a bunch more tips on a newsletter that I have, which you can also sign up to below. So check it out, sign up, and I'll send you a bunch of valuable information on how to make better music faster. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.